Not going to do the video.
Can we have it like this?
There we go. Shut up, SJ, because we are live, finally. What a surprise. There are technical issues with the rundown. What a surprise. So we're a bit earlier this week because we've got special guest SJ. Connor is...
Hello.
He's not here. I think he maybe had one too many beverages after MMU's win yesterday. But we're going to talk about the playoffs because it's time. It's time. It's time. And Dylan doesn't know what SJ's got, so this will be a surprise. We're also going to be joined by, how do you say his last name? I forgot how you say his last name.
Buchan.
Dylan. Buchan. Oh, is it that simple?
Yeah.
Oh. No, Calum Buchan, the OC for the Heriot-Watt Wolverines, and he can say about, talk about why, basically, like, what does it mean to go up to Div 1? And how has this little gangly little freak show been able to quarterback a team? Okay, this is the roast. This is the roast.
The system quarterback. That's what we're going to find out today.
System quarterback.
Am I going to reveal the quarterback for Heriot-Watt today?
What is a wheel route? Do you know?
A wheel route?
Is it where the receiver spins around in a big circle?
And it's something you do pre-snap.
Oh.
I thought the Chiefs did it against the Raiders. Something like that.
Yeah.
Thought so.
Yeah. No, we got X's and O's watching because everyone's out for the playoffs. Everyone is out for the playoffs. Everyone, except me, because I'm not in the playoffs currently. Also, if anyone is going to comment anything about Gloucestershire Gladiators, I will simply talk about the Worcester game and not anything else that has happened. Nothing else has happened to Gloucestershire since last week. But we're going to get into the playoffs. SJ, why are you here? No.
Fine. Right. Okay. Fine. Never mind.
No, go on.
No. I'm here to let everyone know who's playing who in the playoffs, and then.
Oh, you're definitely letting.
I'm letting them know, and then there might be a few people that get upset when I put the predicted one out, but that's for a bit later.
I'm presuming.
No. Maybe it's me. Who knows?
Yeah. Maybe he's getting angry against himself. So how about this, SJ? Why don't you start with I imagine the easiest one. I don't think many people are going to. I think the one people can in fact work out, the Prem. Let's start with the Prem.
Prem's a weird one at the moment because as it stands, it's not going to be how it ends because still a few teams play more games. So first games are Leeds versus UEA Pirates. So currently Leeds are sat in at number 1. Now, technically Notts have the head-to-head over them. You'll expect Notts to win out. So that's for the predicted part. And then you've got Nottingham versus Brum. So Brum making the trip up to Notts for the first round. And then new kids on the block, SGS, are welcoming Durham. And then finally, Newcastle are making the fun day out to UWE on the road.
Here's the thing: is that I remember, because SJ, if you remember last year, it was Nottingham versus Brum, and there was someone who picked Birmingham. We won't talk about who that person is and why they still have a Uniball show, but it happened. It happened, and I don't know why they've still got the show. They don't deserve it, but they've still got it. But yeah, nothing too surprising. I think all the first 4 seeded teams are probably going to win all those games. SGS versus Durham is probably the one on there that is the most interesting.
I can't see any surprises, and that's not putting down the lower ranked teams. That's just true flat. By all means, if Newcastle think they can beat UE, great, well done. But come on.
Well, for Newcastle, like at this point, you've just got to be happy that you're still there. I feel like it's an accomplishment to stay up there for a year without having your trousers completely pulled down.
Well, their issue is the fact they had the walkover. Because they've had the walkover, that's what's giving Durham their head-to-head over them. So technically, you'd expect them to actually be playing SGS, but because of that walkover, it's dropped them down. But luckily,
I'd imagine though that it still gives the same outcome, whether it's going to be SGS or the Bullets. Sorry Newcastle, but
I'll be honest. Look at last season. SGS versus Newcastle be a rematch of the Div 1 national final.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
and that wasn't a blowout. To be fair,
you know what, SJ? That's actually a really good point because we were both there for that, and I remember having a conversation with you. Like, I thought SGS would be more, sort of high powered than this, and it was a good game. It's fine.
It was fine.
It wasn't.
Like,
Okay.
National final was like, everything else is crap compared to that. Not Euro game.
That's true. And then, so who do you think is gonna meet in the final? Genuinely, because is it a difficult one?
It's a repeat in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think what it is if Leeds had beaten Notts in that other game, I'd be saying Leeds versus Uri. But I think it's gonna. The problem is anyone that runs into Uri anyone before the semi-finals, you're not gonna make the final. So it's UW versus Notts. Is it too early to say wins it all? That's for you to decide.
I'm waiting for Connor to come in and mention the home advantage to Nottingham.
Shut up. No, we don't need to. We don't need to get into the home and away sides of Prem final. So we don't need to get into that. We don't.
Is it Newcastle going down to UWE for that?
I believe
just brutal.
It would be cheaper for. I'm not saying the one to say because it's terrible.
No, okay. So let's move on to the Div 1 North.
Div 1 North right now.
Let's move on to the Div 1 North.
Right now, it's Loughborough at 1, and they are facing Manchester.
Yep.
And then it's Leeds versus Edinburgh. So that's 2 versus 7. And then number 3 is Hallam versus Glasgow at number 6. And then NTU versus Liverpool John Moores at 4 and 5. Now, the thing with that is you've got a lot more spicier matchups on that one.
Mm-hmm.
You've got 3 undefeated teams that I expected to be 3 undefeated teams going in. You've got Loughborough already at 8-0. I see Hallam going the same way, and I see Leeds going the same way.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Is that NTU versus LJMU is the most exciting match just because I don't know who's going to win that. I think
LJMU take that.
No, I think you're an idiot. I think NTU takes that. So there you go.
You said you didn't know who's going to win it.
I don't know, Dylan. I don't know who's going to win every week. We make predictions on this show. Have you watched this show before?
Yeah. No, I think LJMU take that one, and then who would that leave them with?
I'll be real, Dylan. From the picks I've seen you make this season, I'm not listening to a word you say about predictions.
That's true. That is true. And also, you can see in my little underbit there, I did pick Cardiff this week, and I don't feel bad about it either. So
I also did. They were up at the half, I think.
Exactly. They were up. They were up at one point, which is good for Cardiff. And that was implosion, and they put poo on the poster. Unbelievable. Still the funniest thing that's happened. Cardiff are top meme of the year, and you can't tell me anything.
So do you want the predicted one? Do you want the predicted bracket? How it is most?
Yes.
How I think it's most. So the thing is, Loughborough have had 2 walkover wins. So when you put the 2 walkover wins in, Leeds go above them on the points against per game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit of a shitter, but that's how it goes. So then you've got Leeds versus Manchester, Loughborough versus Warwick, Hallam versus LJMU, and then I've got NTU versus Glasgow. So I've actually got Glasgow dropping down slightly.
For me, the only thing that changes is that I think NTU have an easier game against Cardiff than they would do against Liverpool John Moores. That's my view. That's anything that changes there for me.
I think this is the thing with those matchups is you've got 2 in-division clashes again. You've got Loughborough against Warwick for the 2nd year in a row.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Hallam versus Liverpool John Moores, which I believe Hallam have smacked them twice.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Hallam have just got such a high-powered offense But on the flip side, that defense is the weakest out of those three predicted undefeated teams by a long way. It's either that, it's either the defense isn't that great, or the offenses in that division are just great, or vice versa.
Yeah,
in the other one.
like the final for me it's Loughborough Leeds. I like Hallam, but the North final for me is Loughborough Leeds, and I like that is a game I'm not willing to predict that one until maybe like the fucking day before. I don't have a clue. That's a proper coin flip.
2-minute warning is when you make your prediction.
Yeah, and I'll
I think
shout it from the
Loughborough-
rooftops.
I don't think Borders 1's a good division. Like,
What about Borders 2? Is that a good division?
No, neither are. The
Oh,
Borders
okay.
is crap. We know this.
Oh.
I know that's what you're getting at, but I don't think Borders 1 is the best division. I think
Wow.
should probably...
He said it, not us guys. And I'm mad.
That's a man from the
Okay,
Borders
so-
as well. That's the worst thing.
And the worst part is that like we're talking about this, and then you just see across the top of I was going to say LJMU have mentioned you in a story on Instagram. It's like, no, you can't meme me during the show. That's not fair. That's not fair.
Do you want me to check
right.
for you?
No, I don't. Right, okay, SJ. What about the one that is near and dear to your heart? The Div
This
1
one-
South.
I'll be honest, this is a clusterfuck.
Oh, yeah.
This is
Also, dear. Also, all three divisions of the Div 1 South. Can you just fucking stop? Just stop. Just stop. Don't do this to us every week.
I don't think I was saying this the other day to someone. I don't think I've ever seen Div 1 South as a whole. By this point, there's stuff locked in. There's usually a division winner at this point, and someone's relegated. The only one that is locked in terms of who's up and who's won the division, who's going down, is the Southwest. Everything else is still very much in the air. So, right now, as it stands, Bournemouth University are going in number 1. And they're going to face off against Queen Mary at number 8.
Mm.
And then number 2 is Portsmouth versus Royal Holloway. So, in division clash.
Yeah.
And then it's Brunel versus Kent, another in division clash. How exciting. And then this is the game that is my favourite one by a long way, I think, in the entire playoffs altogether. It's Hearts versus Exeter.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the one that
100%.
I wouldn't put any money on anything on that one, because that could go either way.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a clue. In division clashes, I'm sure that both Portsmouth and Royal Holloway are sick of seeing each other by now. So, yeah, there's not much to be done. I'm also sure that you're sick of seeing Kent as well. But
Again, fine. You know, I'm happy. Like I said, I'll if I'm putting my Bruno hat on, I'll take whoever we place.
Yeah.
We're going at 8.
So-
Fine. We're going at 8.
So,
We're
who?
going at 8. We've done something really wrong.
Yeah, to be fair, if you are, then you have. Just honestly, I think you should just fuck around and try and win the league from 8. Win the whole league from 8, just for banter.
Well, this is the thing. The thing is, if we're talking about how messed up the divisions are, the Southeast is chaos. I knew it was coming. Okay, right. Let me get into
X's and O's like in Brunel. No, you
I
don't
haven't even got any predicted ones yet. Okay, let's do predicted.
No, wait, guys, wait for it. Wait, X's and O's, wait for him. Go on.
Well, okay, but I just want to clarify. This is based on points against. Okay, this is based on stuff outside of other people's hands as such. So, same again. BU versus Queen Mary, number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Is number 8. And then I've got Brunel versus Royal Holloway. So Brunel moving up to number 2. And then Portsmouth versus Kent. And then again, Hearts versus Exeter. The reason that is, there's people from Hearts watching, you're probably thinking, so you're telling us we're going to lose the next 2 games? No. The thing is, right now, Oxford and Hearts hasn't been rescheduled. If they do not play that game, they are going to be not winning division. There's no other way about it. So,
Understandable
that's how
then,
it
yeah.
is. Right. Now, Bournemouth, very, very good chance taking it. All they have to do is shut out Stags on the weekend. If they do that, there's no chance anyone can go above them. So, that's how that one goes. But Like again, Hearts versus Exeter, still the standout game. Very much
And
still
then-
the standout game.
And then who have you got for the final?
Okay. See, I can't say it without being biased. Everyone's going to call it
Fine,
biased.
okay. Yeah, you're right. They are. Yeah.
I've got Bruno versus Exeter.
Exeter.
Now, do you want my reasoning?
Yes.
Well, I'd hope so because we are on a show. So
So we're all when good putting out these hot takes and then not explaining why I've done the hot takes.
yes, it would be good, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Those two teams are the most experienced in the Div 1 playoffs by a very long way. Exeter have made the semi-finals or the final every single year. They know how to get it done in the playoffs.
That suggests they don't.
Huh?
That would suggest they don't know how to do it in the playoffs. They're still there.
You didn't let me finish. That's what I was going to say.
Carry on.
They've still not got over it. But what I'm saying is they know how to play in the playoffs. They know what it means. Their coaches are very well drilled. I just think that they would pit. I've got them. I think they would just beat Bournemouth in round 2. That's my prediction. I think they would beat Bournemouth in round 2. I think that game would be close regardless. On the day, that's going to go either way. So this isn't me. People have got their changing room speeches already, and I don't care at this point. So
Listen,
I don't care.
Honestly, mate, there'll be a picture of your face on a dartboard somewhere in some locker room, maybe in the southwest of England. Just bop, bop, bop.
It's Hayden. It's Hayden in his changing room.
Oh, mate, Blair, rest in peace. What a guy! What a guy! Bring back Hayden. Get rid of Dylan. Fucking hell.
I've been here with
It's a joke. That's what I'm saying. There's there's one team finishes 7-1. There's a possibility that one team finishes 4-4. 3 teams finish 3-5. Imagine winning 3 games and still getting relegated.
I'm just letting you argue with people in the chat.
I'm not arguing. But to be fair, though, they were in the south as well, and they swept the floor in the south every time they were in the south. They've moved over to southeast, and they're doing well at the moment. But like I said, playoffs, don't know what's going to happen.
And that is the problem with playoffs. We can predict them, but it doesn't matter in the end.
Doesn't matter. Who cares?
The same Brunel that beat Hearts last playoff, X's nose. Why are you coming into my stream and causing problems, my friend? Why are you coming in it? No, I love it. Keep going. So moving on to the most important divisions. SJ,
let's go.
Division 2. And let's start with the North. Let's start with the North, hey, Dylan?
Okay, the North. Okay, the thing is with Div 2 is there's walkovers all over the place.
No.
Tell me about it.
I don't know anything about walkovers.
Making it so difficult to predict or even to work out who's going where. So number 1 seed is Liverpool. Liverpool Raptors going at number 1 currently against York. And then I've got Heriot-Watt coming in at number 2 against Nottingham. And then it's Leicester versus Bradford. And then Aberdeen versus Derby.
Oh, honestly, look at those Midlands teams. Look at those Midlands teams all coming in and ruining everything for everyone, which I think that they will.
Derby in Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Aberdeen have got 4th seed.
Yes.
Aberdeen will get 4th seed, yeah.
And that'll be a home field advantage. That's how it works.
Right now, they've got the number 4 seed.
But it doesn't matter right now because what do you?
No. That's what it doesn't matter right now because it's all going to change. It's all going to change because someone's probably going to walk over somewhere and it becomes chaos again. So here's the thing: Heriot-Watt have the unfortunate luck of having less games played than any other division. So that division only plays 6 games. The other 2 play 7, which means if you all go undefeated, Heriot-Watt are going in at 3. So this is all dependent on whether that Leicester versus DMU game gets replayed. If that doesn't get replayed, then it changes again, and I can't be asked going into that. So this is on the basis that Leicester have played their game, and you expect Leicester to win as the top of the league team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Liverpool versus Bradford, and then Leicester versus Derby, and then Heriot-Watt versus Aberdeen. This is the most boring playoffs.
It is really boring, isn't it? Yeah, that's awful.
And then it's Nottingham versus York. That's the most exciting game because it's the only one out of the division.
Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. Viewers and listeners. What we've predicted is in-season rivalries, in-season clashes for the first round, and then probably because of the Div 2 Midlands, probably a division clash in the second round as well. Don't know what to tell you.
But if I'm Heriot-Watt, okay, I'm not going to cry over the fact that I've got one less game played. I'm going to look at how many points my defense conceded and go, okay, fine.
Basically, what you're saying there is that whoever the quarterback is for Heriot-Watt, they've done no help. It's all been the defense.
Yeah, man, they've just been on the coattails of the defense. No, of course not.
No,
of course not.
This is the roast. Also, Dylan, please come back next week. Let's just get that out of the way. Please come back next week.
There's every chance you'll be by yourself if I don't.
Yeah, that's true. Connor's too busy partying it up. Okay, let's move on to the last one, the Div 2 South. So, who's in it at the minute?
It's boring again. So it's Kings versus Greenwich.
Brilliant.
I guess Reading versus. Can you guess who it is? It's Solent.
It's Solent Redhawks, yeah.
Solent, yeah. And then it's Bath versus that team in Wales that I can't pronounce because it's Aberystwyth, whatever it is. Sorry, guys.
Dylan, how do you pronounce it?
Aberystwyth.
There you go.
Nice. And then UCL versus Brighton. That's a nice one.
I was really sorry. It's a good one. It's just I don't want in-division clashes because, well,
it's boring. Let's be honest. From a neutral perspective, it's not fun.
It's boring.
There's a big game I'd love to see in the Southwestern mind.
What's that?
Just if there was ever a playoff clash between the top two.
Well, I wouldn't know who the top two is because the top two currently is Aberystwyth and Bath. So, before you start roasting my squad, Dylan, get your facts right. But what about your predicted ones?
I think this was the easiest one. This one doesn't really change. It's Kings versus Greenwich still. It's Reading versus Solent, UCL versus Brighton. And the one that changes is it's Bath versus Gloucester.
Imagine the absolute scenes.
Come on.
The absolute scenes, if that is the case. Bath versus Gloucester in the playoffs, where it really does not matter. And I can't wait if that's the case. It's going to be fun. I do want to play Bath, but that is going to. It's just going to leave it. Yeah, it'd be if Bath plays. If we beat Bath, I can't wait to be filled up with moral victory. Delicious. I love moral victory. That's my absolute favourite. Not actual victories. Moral victories.
If you had to give them or what?
Bath.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
If you had to give Gloucestershire the odds of doing a Liverpool this year and winning the championships, what would you say?
Low.
I want to see Liverpool go back to back. I think they deserve it.
Yeah, so do I. Also, let's just point out something that Liverpool they're being promoted now, which I think that's massive. Good job for Liverpool. They've done it.
They've done it.
Absolutely. Yeah, they've done it. They've been promoted now. They've done it. They've won. They can. I want to see what damage they do next year because I think it will be spectacular. It's either going to be amazing or it's going to be absolute. They've been waiting for so long to go up, and then immediately come crashing back down. I don't think that will happen, but just imagine.
I think they'll do a Bournemouth. I think they'll surprise people next year.
Yeah, so do I.
I think they are going up. I think that's confirmed.
That is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think they'll do well.
And who have you got for the Div
season?
And who have you got for the Div 2 South?
See, it's a lot of stories on this one. I think, Reading. I think it'd be great to see Reading bounce back in a way that I don't think any team's ever bounced back. Bath as well could do the same thing. Kings finish off an undefeated season. Or maybe UCL take it. I've got no allegiance to UCL at all, so I don't know why I would ever say that.
You're such a piece of shit. You're such a piece of shit. To be fair, it's like we haven't got allegiances to anyone. It's just this whole thing has been us subtly trying to be like, we're not being biased, but what about my team? Or problem is, mate, you're aligned with Loughborough, Brunel, and UCL.
It's quite funny.
As I sit here in Gloucestershire with my Lincoln Colonials shirt, only because they beat.
It's the Bullets one.
Oh. It's actually it's on the floor down there. Because I wear it to training sometimes because it makes me feel special, it makes me feel like a real football player. Get that off my screen.
This is retro at this point. The old Serrano jersey, backing them in the playoffs.
Not bad. I don't mind that jersey. I'll back them getting the playoffs just on that jersey.
No, don't. No, don't. I've got to pretend that I want to play football. All right.
That's the predictions. Yeah. But like I said, I think the way that the last few weeks have gone, I think that will be far from the truth. As much as I would like, it'd be great if I got it wrong. It's going to change a lot. I think it's going to change a lot. I think there's going to be some shocks down there still. There's still plenty of games. Just think, because of the weather, you've got 10 days until the end of the season, and there are some teams cramming in 3 games.
Honestly, we'll get into it later, but as much as I can joke about killer bees, bro, their schedule's insane. Absolutely God bless the Bath Killer Bees. It's a shame that we weren't able to get the game against them from a Gloucestershire perspective, but they're playing, I think it's 3 games in 7 days or something like that, and that's mental. Obviously, that is one of the benefits of having a squad their size, but that is just very, very impressive just to get it all out of the way. For them, it's going to be difficult to do predictions when you've got to pick 3 Bath games in a row.
Well, this is the thing. There's so many teams that have still got, they've either got games to play, or in Hertfordshire's case, they've got to get that game in. Now that game, I don't know what's going on in Hertfordshire, so the chance lies that game has actually been rearranged. It's just not on Bucks yet. There's other teams that are looking at double header. Brunel could be doing a double header. That's still not confirmed. There's a lot of things that are very uncertain.
Is that not confirmed?
Not confirmed yet, no.
Interesting.
So it could, do you know what I mean? It could all change very quickly, because if Hearts get both of those games played, that's it. They're number 1 seed, because they're in at number 1. The only thing that changes, they don't have the undefeated season, which is, at the end of the day, in my opinion, that takes the pressure off. I think that having a pressure of an undefeated season going perfect there's a lot on that.
Yeah. Good fun though. Surely that's what you want to play for. You don't.
Well, no, it's a bit of both, really. No, it's like you get part way through the season. I can say from the the Gloucestershire example. This week we conceded points, and it's oh, okay, we've conceded points now, so we don't have to worry about it. We don't have to worry about that, albatross hanging around, the head. I can understand it both ways, to be completely honest. But again, for me, if you win the division and make the playoffs, it's only in Div 1 and Prem, obviously. It doesn't really matter. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't really matter how you get there, as long as you get there. In Div 2, it's obviously different because you basically have to go undefeated now to win divisions. So,
which is weird when you think about it, because your season could essentially be over by the end of October.
Yeah, to be fair, and this is it, Dylan. It's you're in a lucky position where you've already clinched it, and you've still got a game to play. So undefeated, you can aim for that.
I'd have loved as much as anybody for that. It sounds stupid, but it wouldn't have been a disaster had Edinburgh won 2 weeks ago, because that would have been game of my life. Would have loved it.
Luckily for you, Dylan, is that take is so stupid that I'm going to bring in your offensive coordinator to discuss just how stupid that take was. Calum, Jesus, what's he talking about?
This is just what I have to put up with Dylan. It's just standard stupidity. You should see the plays that he sends me. All those little musings.
Has he asked you to run Philly special?
That.
How many times has he asked you to run Philly special?
To be fair, actually, it's the players reining me in from running stupid stuff most of the time.
Can I have one? Can I have one example of a silly play?
Philly special, I think, might have been there at one point. And then we realised our running back's got the hand-eye coordination of a newborn.
Yeah, there was that. Have you seen the Chiefs snow globe play?
Yes.
Yeah, so we spent like 3 practices doing that, and then our lineman complained that they were getting dizzy. So I've had to kill that.
Jesus Christ.
Because I just made them run it like 4 times in a row. Yeah.
I can just imagine seeing linemen throwing up from having to do like a little bit of physical activity, like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Well,
I mean,
the best thing is that obviously we're lucky this year. We've got a player who was a 4-year starter in Div 1 at Miami of Ohio on the offensive line. He's playing for us, which at Div 2, that's basically a cheat code. And he's just shakes his head at what I come up with. So
yeah, but that's just being creative, no? Also, I don't understand. So Miami of Ohio. I never understood that university. Anyway, that's a completely different question.
Yeah.
So we'll get back to roasting Dylan because, unfortunately I've never seen Dylan play, so I don't even know if he's good or not. I imagine no. But
so like the thing, we can do the thing where we just where we pretend that Dylan's a cheerleader and that amazing banner. But what I will say is, from the first game, I think the unfortunate thing for Dylan is that he played last year. He didn't play quarterback. Then I've come in with my offense when I approached Dawn about coming on board and becoming an offensive coordinator. What I said was, "Can I run whatever I want?" And he said yes, foolishly. So I've put in what we'll call loosely an experimental offense, which is quite hard for the quarterbacks to learn. And if you actually look at what Dylan's done from the first game, where we're a bit disjointed, to T-side 82-0, he's improved lots. He is improving. I think definitely even this semester we've seen him just get better as it's going on, which is good.
Say, I think it was week 3 that you actually realised I have never played quarterback in my life. That was it was getting frustrated at stuff in training, and then someone was like, he's never. Oh,
it showed. I was like, oh, it showed. It hasn't just been terribly concussed.
So let me ask you one of the most important questions in regards to the Div 2 borders. How funny is it that a touchdown got called back because someone gridded into the end zone? That's the important questions.
I could show you it. I have it on Huddle.
Oh, yes. Definitely share that to me. I need to see that. Because I think Dylan showed me it, but the angle's so I can't zoom in on it. I need to see the griddy happen, and then obviously the griddy then on the bus on the way out.
That's pretty special.
But,
yeah, it was it just sums up Div 2 banter ball.
Honestly, absolute banter ball. That is it. That's the new name.
Yeah, that's just what we've always kind of referred to it. I mean, part of it was, I kind of looked at it and I was like, in a game like that, because obviously we've got Napier coming up, so we're looking at the film going through that game.
Yes.
I was like, if I was a coach on that sideline, that guy's walking back to Aberdeen. But it was so bad.
So do you feel like
live, sent like a full caps text to about 5 people? It's just like, I think they were 8-0 up at the time, and Edinburgh had sort of started working their way down the field, and then it was that. And it's 2 yards out, and I've never seen such a silent sideline in my life. But Aberdeen, just
I mean,
guys walking off.
If you watch that game, Aberdeen's offense could get nothing going at all the entire game. It was just playing that Napier defense. Napier defense is really good, but the Aberdeen offense was just there was nothing happening that entire game. They got the ball on the 2-yard line and were able to score once, and then they got that. There was like the gritty, and then it was a bit of a nightmare.
Honestly, the most famous gritty in Uniball. So, like, Jenny, a serious question now. Do you feel as though the pressure is off now? You know, you have made Division 1, and you still got very well. You know, it's strange to say because I'm still in the mindset of Napier being this powerhouse, but it might not be the case anymore. Do you feel like the pressure's off for you in this game? You've already accomplished something. You've already accomplished the goal, as far as I'm concerned, anyway.
No,
whose fire alarm's going off?
No, I wouldn't say the pressure's off at all. We want to be perfect this year. I think you're absolutely right, Tebs, by the way, on how you call Napier. They are still actually a very good team. Now, when you look at who they've got on defense, they've got a couple of really good Prem players. David Akintola, he's phenomenal. On offense, they've been around for a while and they can get things done. I think, again, just watching the game back, Aberdeen, it was a very close game, a couple of different bounces, and then it's maybe not that result, and they could be 1-1, like coming into this one. So I do still think Napier are really good. I've obviously been coached by Pete. Like, Pete's an amazing coach. He does a lot in Britball, so he's going to be up for this. They still want to prove that they're like the best team in Edinburgh. Like within our division, like we've all played obviously Edinburgh Uni in pre-season, but there's definitely a lot of pressure. And I think the guys are making it a big event as well, so they're trying to get the crowd down. So we need to show up for it, because there's no point putting 82 points up on Teesside if when you actually get people down, you just fall flat on your face. You just look stupid, especially if you're bigging yourself up, like all the guys have been on social media as well. So they're putting themselves under pressure for this game.
So what do you think is going to have to change, or if anything will change when next season comes about and you're going to be in, the Div 1 borders? Whoever knows what the Div 1 borders will look like next year, even if it will still be called the Div 1 borders. Like, what do you think? Because obviously you've been very successful this year, but it's as I believe it's quoted, different gravy in Division 1.
Yeah, it's definitely it will be a step up. But if you look at who our head coach is, we have Don Edmondson's the head coach of this program. He built the Edinburgh Wolves from a Div 2 program into the Prem team that they are now. If you want to go and talk about like the best program builders in the country, Don's probably at the top of that list. Like, he knows how to get a team all the way up. So he has his plans in place. He knows what we need to do. Once you've got that step up, you get more of a buy-in from the players. They need to know, we need to get that extra bit of commitment. But on the plus side as well, if you look at what that division's going to look like, there's so many like Scottish teams in there. It's not like you're even going to have like the travel issue as well. Like, realistically, like we've had times when we've had to go down to York, so you have to get up at like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning to travel down. You're not at your best. Right? It makes the division a lot more competitive.
That's right. SJ was going to ask something there.
Yeah, no. So that's going to take. We're looking at next year. Like I said, the borders could change a lot. Could change entirely. Who knows what? But I think one thing is certain is that you are going to be in a division with Stirling, who are coming down from the Prem. Has that been something that people potentially looked at? Not have been like, oh god, we got to play Stirling, but more of a, okay, this would be cool.
That's a good question. But again, this comes back to who our head coach is, and Don. And Don's whole philosophy is it doesn't matter who you put in front of us. We're going to go out and we're going to play you guys. We don't give a shit, and we're going to give you our best effort. There's no point in being scared of something. Like, again, going back to the Wolves, we were in Div 2. We ended up being ranked, I think, 8th in the seeds. So this was when it was like a fully national playoff thing. We had to go from Edinburgh to Southampton to play a game. So again, like that is the attitude that some teams will have. But Don's whole message to the team was, this is our opportunity. You have to embrace it. So we paid for flights down to London, then got the bus to Southampton. It was like 30 degrees when we were playing the game. First thing we do when we step out there, one of their players was like, we're surprised you even showed up. And we used that as fuel and we beat them. We got all the way to the finals that year. We lost a very good Merseyside team, but again, Don has ingrained that mentality into us, and it's in this team as well. We're not scared of anybody, and we won't be scared next year. So if Sterling are coming down, brilliant. We'll play Sterling. Like, they still have to. It's not, we don't play Sterling, they play us. That's the mentality that you have to have.
It's a case of it doesn't matter who you're playing on Sunday. They're respectfully going to get that work.
Yeah, and I mean, like, even again going back to the Wolves when we were playing like Tamworth is a daunting challenge for most people to face. But again, it's they have to come up to Scotland, they have to come out of their comfort zone. And the games were like Tamworth still won, they're still one of the best teams, but they knew they were in a fight, and we didn't give up. We didn't, give in at the last minute, and that's the exact mentality that this team has as well. You have to switch your mentality from we have to play someone to they have to play us, and that's a very important difference.
So in terms, obviously, the Borders has been very problematic, in like, for lack of a better word. This is just small. What are your thoughts on whatever is going on in Sunderland?
Oh, that's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. And we were supposed to be playing them. Unfortunately, you have 4 teams in Edinburgh that play on the same pitch. So when you're trying to get a booking for something, it's like incredibly difficult. So we moved heaven and earth and basically ended up saying that we were going to play through in Glasgow. We found a pitch in Glasgow to go and play. Gave Sunderland the details, and then on the Friday, they basically just cancelled. So like, we had wasted a full week just trying to get a pitch together, and then they don't even bother to show up. And they've got this Teesside game going on, but they're not going to play it. And it's just a joke. They shouldn't even be in the league.
Yeah, so a good question from George Mitchell. Do you think that Sunderland should be able to put forth a team next year?
No.
I agree.
We all knew it was going to happen because their head coach is suspended for the year, and they've not replaced them. So what?
So my thinking, I'm just putting my work hat on. Doesn't that responsibility technically lie with the SU? Surely the SU should have turned around and gone, hang on a minute, they don't have a head coach. They've been struggling to get a team together for the last. Obviously, the players want to play. So there needs to be someone more, someone more senior that is saying, no, you need to sit out.
How many SUs actually know how to deal with American football? We had an SU saying, like, why do you have so many coaches? Why don't you just get players to do it themselves? It's like, right, okay, we'll just let first-year players draw up plays in the mud and somebody get hurt. That's fine. I think that's what it goes.
It's that there's not enough knowledge, I think, from SUs to understand how the sport works. I think we had a time where we were thinking rearranging the game for midday. We said no, and the SU went, well, every other team plays without coaches. You guys can do it. It's in the rules. You literally cannot play without a qualified ref. Like I said, Aberdeen, I guess, have been in the same situation as you guys have. They didn't show up again.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just it blemishes the division, to be honest.
Because that's one I don't understand in terms of, you look at last year, you had teams that, they expected to put forth a team but still didn't. Like, you look at Worcester, or I think Chester as well, and then they just not folded, but they choose not to play a team for the rest of the season. Like, that's fine. But it's like, unfortunately, it's like on the score predictions posts, I don't even bother putting the Sunderland game up there because I know it's not going to happen. But it's more so that they keep dangling that they're going to play on a stick, but it just never comes across that there was ever any intention of playing at all.
I think we were pretty close. We were down to about the 11th hour of we could have been forced to concede a walkover to Sunderland because we were scrambling to get a pitch that that much because basically RSU had said, "Oh, we've booked you the pitch for this date." I was actually speaking to Pete, and I was like, "What time is your kickoff?" Because our kickoff's showing at 12, and yours is like 2:30, and I don't think that works. As fast as I can try and make Dylan throw interceptions, it just isn't going to fly. But we basically then spent that entire week trying to find any pitch that was available, like even looking at Stirling, but they had a game on at the same day, and then it was only when we confirmed Wishaw to them, and we looked up the rules on referees and who was and wasn't allowed to referee for them, sent it to them, and then they cancelled. So it was, fun.
That's strange. Are head coaches allowed to referee games? I'm not sure. I don't think they are they?
No, head coaches who are suspended for a year aren't allowed to referee.
Yep, very good point.
Yeah,
very good point. But even if you look at another team like who've had their head coach suspended, like Canterbury, their head coach I believe is suspended. They still managed to play games. So like even that as a reason for Sunderland, I don't think that's. It's just not good. It's not a good enough reason, is it?
Yeah, well, maybe they've just not they've not found someone else to do it. But this was a team who, like, in years previous, had a scholarship player on their roster, and then now it's like, what is going on there? Because it can't be fun for you can't tell me that the players are enjoying it. That's not how you get. Like, if you look at Uniball, like for most people, this is your introduction to the sport, and like that's not a positive image that we would want to be sending of our sport.
I think that's the things you can sit here and shit on Sunderland as a whole, but at the end of the day, it's about the players, and the players are the ones that are actually getting affected by it. So whether that's Sunderland's players, it's your players, it's Aberdeen's, whoever else's players in that division. It's like you said, it's the first entry into American football for a lot of people. If you're at Sunderland and that's your first experience, even perhaps your teams, you're gonna be thinking, "What is this? I never have this in football. I never have this in rugby or whatever."
Yeah.
You get no, we're not because they haven't turned up. Okay, well that's.
I think it's fair, and I think it's something that Pete Napier struggled with as well, is all the cancellations. So how do you keep your guys motivated, knowing that you're going to have all these games like postponed or just people not showing up to them? We've been very lucky. We're very fortunate that we were able to play. We've played 4 of our 6 games. Like, okay, UWS, it got called like a quarter. Well, after a quarter and a half, because they only had 11 players, but like our guys got games, and you can argue like right or wrong, like should you be playing with 11 players? Personally, I don't think you should, but those guys wanted to play, and they showed up to play. They put the effort in, but it just
we did it again last weekend with Aberdeen. Yeah. There was 11 of them at Wishaw. That's what I think.
Yeah,
it's tough on the coaches because I know. It sounds stupid, and I get, like, obviously from coach point of view, they probably should pull it. But if there are 11 of our lads who are really keen to go for it, and you've said to me, you can't, I get from the sort of competitive wanting to play point of view, as the players, you'd be sort of pushing it, going, I want to. And I get that's why they did it both times. But to the same avail, sort of what happened with Aberdeen happened with us. And it's like health and safety is just. When was it? Was it last year? You were saying they've dropped the player limit down to 11.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
From 17. Or Connor said,
I think 17 is probably the minimum that you can play with. But I mean, even Stirling have had, they went down with 17 or 19 players to Nottingham Green. And that's in the Prem. So it is an issue.
In before the people are like, "Oh, just recruit better." The worst sort of commenters.
Idiots, absolute idiots who don't understand how. It's all right saying that at your big programs, but at Div 2 and all these kind of places, I mean, we got told. So our university has some of the best sports facilities in Scotland because we're tied with. Scottish Premiership team and the Scottish national rugby team. So we have a full indoor dome that can host international rugby matches. and we have like 4 rugby pitches that are kept in pristine condition for Scotland to train outside on. We're not allowed to use any of them. And when we've said like, why can't we play our games on campus, which would be good for us for recruiting and everything? The answer we got back from the SU was, well, the rowing club don't train on campus, so don't have a river for them to train on campus. So that's the main reason why. But just the joys.
Makes sense to me. Makes sense.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
But this is very much a Dylan related question.
Okay.
Which is a shame. Obviously, he's a first year quarterback. How do you sort of train someone up to basically be able to put as many points as you did on was it Teesside?
Yeah, Teesside. I mean, like every game we've done well. So the first UWS game, where we had our growing pains, we didn't actually get any points in the first quarter, and then in the second quarter we put up 31 points. So as an offense, we can kind of go like from that to that. Without giving away too much, like our offense creates a lot of one-on-one matchups. So we've it's complicated, but it's simple for the quarterbacks, in a sense. So they only really have to look to a couple of players, and then they can make a play. And a lot of our stuff we have a really good running back in Theo, who's really good, and Nathan as well. They've just been doing bits as well on the ground.
So I guess now it's the playoffs are upon us, and obviously they're coming a bit quicker than Div 1. So what's the general vibe at Heriot-Watt now before the playoffs? Is it looking for that test, or is it still like the fervour has not yet worn off of being in Division 1 now?
Well, the first thing that we need to do is we need to beat Napier. That's our first goal. Napier, even if you look at it from a historic point of view, we've never gone undefeated. So as a team, that would be a great goal to achieve. We've never won a division before. We've accomplished that. We've never beaten Napier. So we would like to have all 3. That would be good for us. And then going into the playoffs, like I say, Napier is going to be our toughest game this year. And I don't say that to kind of bite them up and typical coach speak. When we look at the film, they do a lot of things that give us problems. But going off that, looking at some of the team, we've started sharing film with who we think will be playing, and looking at a lot of the other teams, I'd really look forward to the challenge of it. I think I would love to play Leicester. I would love to play Nottingham Green. I think that would be a great experience for our guys. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to whoever we can play.
Well, I think that's your thing, isn't it? That's what I said at the start of the show to Dylan. Is you're in that unlucky situation where you won't play as many games as the other 2 divisions. So like I said, because looking at your record and everything, you don't get any more dominant than that. In all seriousness, I think your points against is like 1.7. It means not even a safety puts against you on average a game. So that should put you at number 1, see. But because of how the system works, it puts you at number 3. But I think you already, like you said, you already answered that question of it doesn't matter who you play, they've got to play you. But I don't actually know where I was even going with that. There was a question on there, and I don't know where the question came from.
Yeah, cool.
Great journalism right there.
Yeah, perfect.
So who do you have us playing in it just now? Because I've seen a couple. I've spoken to Jason Scott, and he still had us number 1 based on what he thought the rankings would be, even at the end of the season.
DMs are going to become full of head coaches and coaches messaging me going, "Who are we playing? How do you know this?" So it depends on what happens with Leicester. If Leicester get their games played, you'll go in as 3. If you go in as 3, you'll play Aberdeen.
Right.
But if Leicester don't get their game played, it's Notts. It would be Notts. You'd host Notts, which I think would be a scorcher of a game.
I would like it. Yeah, come up for a live stream. We can
Oh, for God's sake. No. Everyone's asking me, like, Dylan's really asked me to come up for the Super Bowl. No, I'm not.
Well, yeah, now the Super Bowl game has lost some of its shine now because we're not even getting real refs. So it's going to be level 1 refs.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, which I'm not happy with. Right? Because there's no other games going on in Scotland on that day. But because we're a 4 o'clock kickoff, it's, yeah, probably.
And the refs are heavily in the pub at that point. Having Now Dylan's gone. Slag him off.
Yeah, no. So,
Oh,
well, yeah, we can slag Dylan off. First game against Paisley, I always call him Paisley, but University of West of Scotland. He was very happy about like how his passing was going. He thought he had done really well. Luckily, I have a guy who keeps stats on everything as the plays are going on, and he was like, "You're 3 for 9." Wait, so that just sums up Dylan. He's the confidence of yeah.
how many interceptions has he thrown? He's never disclosed that piece of information.
One interception.
Oh, boring. That's
How many
impressive.
times have you thrown the ball? 1.
Yeah. No, he's actually like, I will say Dylan has, from where he started to where he is now, like if you look at the quarterbacks in the division, I know it's not saying much, but he is head and shoulders above all the other quarterbacks in that division. Like, he's a good runner. He's developed now. Like, his footwork's better. He does have a really good arm as well. I think also like for the first games, we had him as QB2 because we were just putting our Div 1 lineman in as a wildcat quarterback and just running him up the A gap because he's got to stop that. Yeah, it's like, so yeah, that kind of. But we started changing that a little bit, and Dylan's got better. But
I think as a quarterback, especially in Uniball, so if you've never played the sport before, that is by head and shoulders the hardest position. You know, it's not like senior where the chances are as your quarterback you're going to have had some experience before. The amount of times you see quarterbacks that never played before, it is just So like credit to Dylan.
I mean, I know what he's going through because I had played before, and I actually ended up playing quarterback for Pete in a couple of games in the old like uni system, and I was an option quarterback. I couldn't even throw the ball past the line of scrimmage. I ended up causing a fumble that my center recovered. So we called it like a center screen because I was trying to throw the ball away.
Get more of those in Uniball. More center screens, specifically in the Division 2 Southwest.
So it's I understand what they're going through as well. And if you think about it, it's like at Uniball, practice time, especially Div 2, it's so hard. Like we're lucky we have 2 midweek practices and we don't practice on the weekend, but you don't really have time to kind of train and install things. So that's why with our offense, we've made it pretty complicated so that other teams, if they do get scout, realistically, they would only have 40 minutes to try and implement it. But then for us, putting it in, you only have 5 weeks to put it in, so you have to make things very simple, but also look very complicated at the same time. So it was, it's a bit of a challenge. I think once you get to like Stirling and like when we were in the Prem, you had more practice time and you could kind of develop it. But yeah, for us, it was a bit of a struggle.
And not the last question, but like, as we're getting towards the end there, just how does it feel to be on a coaching staff with Lindsay, who I imagine is just ruining everything all the time? Because I had this discussion with her, is that I manage somehow, and not through any sort of fault on Lindsay, I always manage to pick against her for everything. And I like Lindsay, she's a good coach. However, I pick against her every time and she manages to win, and it's really irritating.
Yeah, it's very irritating in practice when she's calling the defense and they're constantly winning. Like Lindsay is an excellent head coach. I'm really proud of how well she's kind of come on because this is obviously her first season coaching 11s football, and she's took to it like a duck to water. Like the players all like respect her. They know she knows what she's talking about. I've had this conversation with Lindsay a lot, but I think like Div 2 and women's football, there were a lot of like bad coaches that were kind of gravitate towards that area, and that you can kind of tell when there's like some bad coaches. I'm sure you guys have all like seen the ones that are about, and things don't always get the best. But Lindsay is just brilliant. Like she is probably one of the best women's coaches that we have in the game in Britain. She's someone that I like constantly ask for advice as well on things. So yeah, you do always pick against her. I would, and there's a reason that defense is so good as well.
Yeah.
Like she is a big. Her and Rachel are a big reason why that defense is so good.
Yeah, and doesn't matter. Still going to pick against her because I know what will happen. The second I pick for a team that Lindsay is a part of, they will lose, and I will get shouted at for finally believing. It's very much the Portsmouth situation from last year.
I'm interested to see how they do like nines this year with the women's team, but I think the Wolves are going to shock some people because it's another thing of like teams like the Warriors and that they have to come up to Edinburgh, like they have to play Edinburgh. And she'll get that mentality into those women, and you already saw what they did last year. I think they're going to take another big step up.
Yeah, don't get me started on the final for that game because again, I have this conversation with Lindsay every so often. Is that I don't regret picking Peterborough, and yeah, I don't regret picking Peterborough. But watch the Edinburgh Wolves women's beat Lions and Warriors, and then I can just shut, and then I have to retire from picking sports.
Yeah, she'll have that gold medal by the end of the season, no doubt.
Oh, 100%. Also picked Cardiff. That is the.
I've just figured out how to do it.
Awful. Right, I'm out of questions for you. I'm out of questions for you, Coach.
No problem. Well, thanks for having me. And
no, I'm throwing it to these two because Dylan's been out for a while. Dylan, have you got any questions you want to ask your coach?
I'm at a distance from him, so what do you think? Oh, what are we doing tomorrow?
What are we doing tomorrow?
Such a fucking arsehole.
Nah.
What are we doing tomorrow?
What's the end goal? What do you see us doing years to come?
Years to come, like again, it goes back to what Don's wanted. Like our goal is not Div 1. Our goal is Prem. That's the goal. We didn't take these jobs, not jobs, but we didn't volunteer to be coaches here to just stay in Div 2 or then go to Div 1. We want to be in the Prem. But how long that takes, that's a different question. There's a lot of outside factors that go into that, and we know it's not going to be an easy task, but that's the end goal. The goal is to be Prem, and the goal is to win championships in the Prem.
See, why can't more coaches be like you? Like, genuinely, do you know how refreshing it is to have a coach come on, like stuff I do with X and O's? No one ever says that. No one ever says that. It's aim for the stars. Do you know what I mean? Like, anything can happen. You know, UE 6 years ago, no one would have ever predicted they'd be the way they are now. The only people that would probably know is UE.
Yeah.
And when I was in Div 2, is, you know, I want to be Prem and I want to compete. I'm still trying to do that, and it's killing me at this point, to be honest. But
so, like, I used to be head coach of Heriot-Watt, and then I kind of stepped away because I had my daughter, and I just couldn't commit that amount of time with a newborn. What I said was, like, after every game, we want Durham, because Durham were like the number one team at that time. And like we would post that up on like social media and everything. I think a lot of people didn't really understand it. It's not about like we're not saying we can beat Durham. It's about having the aspiration to be. We want to be at that level. So again, like if I was to do it now, my philosophy and my message to the team would be: we want UWE. again, it's just kind of like it goes back to that thing of we want Bama, we want like you have to set these goals, and you have to. If you're just happy going like winning a Div 2 Borders, that's fine, but there's bigger things that you need to be focusing on, and that's what this team is. What we're trying to set this team up for, and try and get them to look at.
That is the best speech I've ever heard given by a football coach. Genuinely, that's the best speech. I'm just quite like, get me on a transfer right now. I'm coming up. I can stay with Dylan. I can.
There's space for you. Come.
I hope you like the 27-year-old centres with bad knees and terrible haircuts, because that's all I bring to the table.
We've got a pretty bad haircut centre at the moment.
Yeah.
Does he have a mullet with braids in it? That is the question.
You know what?
I didn't clock
welcome
braids,
that.
I won't lie. That was.
Huh?
I didn't clock
What was that?
braids.
Yeah,
like the braids.
It's definitely a look. It's definitely a look. We've won every game where I've had braids in, so therefore it's the braids.
Keep them.
That's it, yeah. But no, has anyone got anything else? I would throw it to the comments, but I think based on how Lindsay's coming, I think there's a delay. So I'm sure the one will come in. Anyone? I'm good.
It's been good. I've enjoyed this.
Well, Coach, thank you for coming on. It's a shame that I can't end this preamble with the Scottish Super Bowl. Who goes to Division 1, because Aberdeen have ruined it. But good luck on Sunday. I look forward to Dylan messaging me afterwards that you've done something spectacular, and then I'm sure he'll drunk message the rundown chat some nonsense at the Super Bowl as per.
I mean, he does it to me constantly, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My best inspirational speeches are at midnight on the walk from somewhere to a club. That's in my prime time. I just start deep in everything. I'm in my own zone, always thinking about the goal.
Yeah, telling your girlfriend life is a game of inches.
Well, with that, Coach, to be fair, Coach, if you want to stay for us to shout predictions, but it's going to be a long, boring process.
Yeah, I'll leave just now. Thanks very much for having me, guys.
No, not a problem at all. Thank you very much, Coach. Good luck. Not to you, Dylan, though, which is strange. No good luck to you.
Bye, Dylan.
Bye, Dylan.
As well.
Bye, Dylan. No Heriot-Watt. No more. What is a Heriot-Watt?
I don't know.
What is a Heriot-Watt? Right.
Wondered that. Where is Heriot-Watt? And then that got answered to me early in the year, and I went, "Oh, everyone's around it. Edinburgh and Glasgow aren't there. There is nowhere else in Scotland." There's Aberdeen.
I'm gonna go fuming in the comments. I was gonna say.
To be fair, I didn't realise that four teams play on. How do you pronounce Pfeffermill?
Pfeffermill. So that's only. To be fair, that includes like the Wolves women and Napier Knights youth. It's not like at the same time everybody. It's getting pretty bad. The playoff run would be interesting if we're at home, but it's probably we'll get to it.
So because I've basically I put all the games in the chat, and now the chat has gone, so I have to do this free balling. So in the Prem this week, obviously I'll shout it out. You give me the predictions. Do it nice and quick so we can all leave. Can you imagine a rundown finishing before 9 and we started at past? You're right, SJ. Oh no, he's muted. Inspirational.
I was going to say we could take forever doing this if we want. Why not? We've got 20 minutes.
That's literally true. So we've got the Battle of Bristol 2 in the Prem. The SGS Pride versus the UE Bullets. It's lost a bit of its luster after last time. I won't lie.
Hang on. We didn't even talk about the results at the weekend just gone.
No, we didn't do it last week, so I didn't want to do it this week.
10 minutes, quick little rundown. Oh.
Stop my show. Stop. No, you are right though. So obviously the big result is we have another 100-pointer with UE beating the UEA Pirates 106-0. Again, I'm very annoyed that can you see the private chat? Can you see what I put in it? I put in a message from Frankie.
No.
Oh yes, I can see that. Yes.
Yes, read it out for me.
Okay, so 4 defensive touchdowns, 10 offensive touchdowns, 2 pick sixes, and 2 fumble recoveries.
There you go.
So,
That's something.
Is I hate all these Americans coming here and taking our job. That's a bit nuts. I'll be honest, that is a bit nuts. And the thing is, right, people can sit there and go, they're ruining the sport and stuff like that. But having spoken to people at UE, what they do is really just a case of asking your SU. If you don't ask, you don't get. And it is as simple as that. But the thing is, you can't limit it because of the way Bucks works. Bucks isn't going to limit who gets an opportunity to play football just because of where they're from. Because if you put a cap on that, then people get upset because it's like, well, hang on, why is it not done in this sport? Why is it only done in that one? And then you get into that. It creates more nonsense than it does now. That's my little TED talk.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I swear we talk about this every time you roll like that. The issue that people have with bullets, but they're not counting in the fact that other teams that aren't as successful as the Bullets also do have Americans scholars, but they just don't.
The only problem for it is the sustainability of it. In that, I know obviously they're getting results in the UK, and it'll be great. Are they going to start getting players trying to go to America ahead of the NFL academy? I don't know. And on top of that, like, you see what happened to Sterling, where they had the sort of influx investment and flew high for a couple of years, and now, as you say, it looks like we're going to be playing them next year. And it's like, if the uni keeps it up for ages, and it isn't going to be profitable unless they are able to get some sort of income or marketing off it.
The uni does get income. By having those students come over, they get income. Everyone wins in the cycle, so the cycle isn't going to end at any point. But it comes back
you'd
to
have far more unis doing that in every sport if that were the case. There's not.
There is. Unis do it in every sport. Nottingham have scholars in every single sport. The only difference is when you change it into a sport that has as many players on the field, it changes. You know what I mean? Like if you have 3 scholars on a volleyball team, they're going to do a lot better than 3 scholars on an American football team.
Well, in that case, I'd hope to see it carry on in more unis, but I just don't. For the meantime, at least, because it's such a niche, tough thing to get into, and it's not like the uni is going to get quite the same exposure. Because I don't. When do you think the first UK Brit ball player gets the NFL with the current development? If put a year on it, there you go.
That's the whole across everything, and that's
sports. Yeah.
Oh no, I gathered that.
Well, I don't know. Someone could have seen that and gone, Durham have 75 American football scholars. I wasn't aware that Eden V. Palmer is now American. But like I said, you can't cap it because then you have those every day. For example, say I'm just an American student. I go, oh, you guys do American football, I want to play. No, you can't because we're capped at Americans. Like you're being up, well, that's a bit.
No, definitely you can't. I was saying to Tabs the other day, I don't know anymore what like those players in terms of their own development. Surely they've got to start doing stuff off time because I don't know how much you get off going away and beating a team 106-0. Especially if you're looking to go sort of above and beyond. I know obviously they're going to have tougher games and they might have to work a little harder, but that room off Friday night, I remember billing up and talking about UWE SGS for ages, and then I sat there and watched it with a group of lads from the team, and it was like, oh, they've done it again. I'd be interested to know how much they've sort of learned off playing your Cardiffs, UEA, and such like, but
they get a fun day out, mate. What more could they ask for? Same again. Like I said, it's that thing of, it goes back to a conversation I had with Tonye, who's the Bucks member football coordinator at the start of the year. Look outside of this sport and you'll realize it's been going on everywhere else for years and years and years. So it's no different, really. As much as it, you might say it's boring, you're probably going to win it again. Fine. It doesn't affect our lives, does it? I don't know. I mean, Tebs was. Seb was crying uncontrollably when he heard Yui have got scholars again. To be fair, he was like, "I can't do this anymore."
That's not true at all. What is this? What is this nonsense? Right, we're moving on because I'm not out here getting slandered.
Sorry.
So Hertfordshire are no longer undefeated, losing 20-8 against the Portsmouth Destroyers, which again, Div 1 South, just stop it, stop ruining everything. But yeah, I mean, I'm more surprised by the scoreline than the fact that Portsmouth won, because given like you see Hertfordshire's scorelines, they're all quite small unless they're playing the Lancers. Yeah, just it's strange. It's strange to see that many points put up, and it seems that Portsmouth have got momentum that they've just they've Portsmouthed it.
I think I believe personally it's a case of you played against them once already. You know what they do, and it's such a short time period between the last time they played, and I think that has a real big impact on it. I think there was a really big injury in the fourth quarter as well, which I think is why the game was called early. I don't know any certain details on that, but I know an ambulance is on the field, so that's clearly, bad injury. So I think that obviously changes things as well. Could Hearts have come back in that fourth quarter? I think the way they've been playing, probably, maybe not. It's the mystery of Uniball.
So if we look at another Div 1 surprise, and it's a shame because the man, the myth, the legend, Conor McPherson is not here, because the Manchester Metropolitan Eagles picked up their first win against the Sheffield Sabres 34-8 after losing to the division leader Sheffield Hallam last week, 21-28. Like, honestly, it's just this is more of a personal thing. It's just good to see. It's just good to see. Connor's been talking about, there's been a progression in the team, week on week, and they finally done it. They've got Manchester again, I believe. We'll check that.
They've still got to play Manchester. They've had one game voided, from what Connor told me, against Manchester. That was the one earlier on. So they're still in there. Is that point of being a team that is, they probably had a talk where they've gone, if you don't butt your ideas up, we're going to get relegated. And if any, the last two games are anything to show, they've got the momentum.
100%.
Listen, Manchester had a poor run out against LJMU last week in terms of the grand scheme. I think, was it 6 points they put on the board? I think
it's tough.
If Connor manages to pull out like the skip ahead of Sheffield, fair play. I'm not sure what was in the air that made us pick him last week, but hey, sometimes you know what we're on about.
But for me, last week it was just that scoreline with Hallam, like being that close with the division leader when you're the division loser. Like something's up there, and it was, for me, there was no other place to go in the div.
Even more of a feeling when Jamie Sill commented. Did you see it on the Sports Amp post?
No, I don't pay attention. I don't pay attention to Jamie.
He said something along the lines of like, "Why don't you change it up and win a game for once?" Tagging Connor, and then he did. I had a feeling as soon as he wrote it was like
that's a common L right there. It's what happens. So, Uniball karma is a real thing. If you say something bad about
it really is. Yeah, that's what I try not to say anything bad at anyone. In Div 2, the surprises for me, this team right here, this team.
Wow.
No, not Gloucester.
Sorry.
No, this team, the Lincoln Colonials, they beat Derby. And the worst part about it is, and this is from Football Karma, I remember last year going out with the Colonials. I remember being drunk in a Mackey's, telling the rookies, Derby's coming down and you're going to lose to Derby. You're going to get fucking melted by Derby. And then I have to sit here.
It's your fault.
It is.
Derby, blame him. Cyberbully him. Do what you need to do.
Honestly, and I'll take it. Yeah, it's not. I hate it.
Had such a random spree of results in the last few weeks. Where originally, like Leicester came off the bat with 56-0 or something. It was everyone sort of just ignored it and carried on talking about Derby Nottingham, and then they drew.
The problem is what you mean is when you talk about people What you're talking
Us.
about is yes, that's what you're
It's
talking about.
us.
And the worst part is, Dylan, you're completely right. We did literally just ignore Leicester for a bit, and then they've just gone, no, Leicester are probably going to win the div now. Oh, all right. I had green. I had
It happened in a
green.
week.
Yeah, it literally did. I know, like,
And
that is just.
And it was looking at it because, like, this is where it comes down to. Realistically, I'm talking about a game taking place 300 probably miles away. I don't know. I pretend I do, as do you. We have a great time.
Shut up! No, we're professionals, you mutt. Then sort of this is sort of the news out of the Southwest too. The Gloucestershire Gladiators Bath Killer Bees game was not rescheduled, and it was gone down for a walkover for the Killer Bees, which I think means that the Killer Bees are going to end up taking the Southwest 2 and joining Reading for the two teams that were relegated due to SGS Pride being in the Div 1 Southwest last year. Both of them are bouncing straight back up. But one thing is, we'll get into this. Bath played 3 games on the trot. I still think that they'll do it. But yeah, honestly, that's just more sad than anything. If obviously for personal reasons for me, but yeah, Bath are a good team, and there's nothing else that can be said really.
I think that's opened up another. I'm realizing the time. I've got nowhere to be. So, but that's. I think
problem. It's the problem, SJ. I do so.
Okay, quick thing. We're seeing more teams bounce back up than we did 4 or 5 years ago. So I guess the question is, and this is people watching as well, is there a bigger gap emerging between Div 1 and Div 2? Is there a bigger gap? You know, are we seeing those teams of Div 2?
I just think the bottom of Div 2, because you have to play like a single friendly to get into it. That you've got no room for development, and then suddenly you're in a league with like a team who could have just Swansea, for example. Can you imagine you've just made a div, like a Britball team, first year, you've got a new head coach, you go in and your first game's against Swansea, who were in the Prem 2 years ago, and it's like, oh, well
I think that's the thing. Because what you've got, Bath gone up, Reading gone up, Midlands, Div 2 is probably going to be a team that got relegated, and that's the thing, even if it isn't, there's a few teams in there that got relegated and they're still scrapping to go up. I don't know what happened in the other two because unfortunately I'm not paying much. Yes, that's the big difference. That's the big difference. Is there's teams at the bottom of Div 2 that were at the bottom of Div 2 when I was in Div 2 in 2016.
York could well go back up next year. York could well go back up next year.
Yeah.
By looks of it.
100%.
And the same way, if whoever goes down from that Northern Tier 1, it's looking like now probably could bounce back up as well, dependent on such things. I think there's quite a big gap, and George Mitchell's put it there, and obviously he's in Aberdeen, so he's seeing the same stuff that I am. Where it's like, you said the amount of walkovers. I don't necessarily think the top teams in Div 2 are that much worse. I think it's just the bottom teams are so far below it.
I think we make a Division 3. Let's get a Div 3 out there, and it's those teams that never win games. And someone's got to win.
I'm sorry, but I believe the varsity for Cardiff is Cardiff versus Swansea. You're telling me that isn't prime watching? That's prime watching right there. I don't know who's going to win that game.
I think that'll be a good game. I'm being deadly serious. I think that would be a good game.
Yeah, so do I.
I think it's going to be a good game. Forget about the records. That's a good game. From what I've seen every year, that has been a very good game.
So, with that, we are going to move on to the picks, if that's right with SJ. Because mainly because my voice is going. From smoking too much. Okay, no, that's not what I do. So in the Prem, obviously the Battle of Bristol 2, SGS versus the Bullets. You've got the Birmingham Lions versus the UEA Pirates, and you've got the Newcastle Raiders versus the Nottingham Gold, and the Durham Saints versus the Stirling Klansmen. What is everyone's thoughts? Again, I think this is pretty cut and dry. for all 4 of those.
Bullets.
Yeah.
Bullets.
Bullets.
I'm going to shit house here. UEA. UEA. Do you know?
Okay.
I want to listen to my thoughts. They threw the game against UE. They didn't do any special teams or anything to rest people as much as possible to beat Brum and take the number 3 seed.
Do you know this, or is it a conspiracy?
It's going to look great when Brum smashed the shit out of them, isn't it? And I just look like an idiot.
Yep, and this will be going up in the UEA locker room as probably right now. Newcastle versus Gold. What are we thinking? It's the Gold.
Newcastle.
Who? Yeah. What? Durham versus Sterling.
Durham.
Yeah, it's simple, easy one there. And it seems like the Prem is going to wrap up nicely. Moving on to Division 1. Warwick versus Staffordshire.
Warwick.
The game doesn't get played.
The game doesn't get played. Do you want to know what? I agree with that one. Then you've got Taranai Aberystwyth versus the Bath Killer Bees. My prediction is Killer Bees, but it's going to be closer than people think.
Are we predicting midweek games here as well, or are we only doing the weekend ones?
No, these are midweek games. Warwick, Wolves and Stallions are midweek games. Sorry, I've just gone onto a Div 2 team because I'm a fucking idiot.
When's Taranai Aberystwyth?
No, we're not doing that one yet. It's okay. Leeds versus Northumbria.
Leeds.
Now this one, I don't know when this is taking place, or if it's a double header. The Brunel Burners, your Brunel Burners
I'm not involved.
versus. I didn't say your. I'm talking to the audience. Your.
They're theirs. Okay.
Yeah. Versus the Imperial Immortals. Brunel.
Waterlogged / frozen pitch for the 3rd time.
For the 3rd time. Tornado
eliminates the field. I don't know. There'll be some reason as to why.
Basically, Essex should take a shit on the field and rub it round, and now they can't play. That's how it's going to work.
I just had one little Bucks Regs side thought. Northumbria currently have 2 drawn games, and Hull have an extra win, but Hull have more points against them. Who actually stays up there?
It goes down on the head-to-head and then the points against per game. There's nothing to do with win-loss record. It's all about can you get 2 points for a win, 1 point for a draw.
Hull stay up.
Hull stay up, yeah.
Right. There is.
Awful. Exeter versus Bristol. Easy for the Demons.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go. They lost hope in themselves last week. I was upset.
Oxford versus the Royal Holloway Bears.
This is the tough one.
Yeah, I don't
Based
know.
on the predictions of the playoffs, I've got Royal Holloway winning.
It's Royal Holloway.
I'm tempted for Oxford, to be honest.
Draw.
A draw. Bro, I hate this show so much. QMBA.
Had I said Oxford, you would have flipped. Had I said it slightly before you, when would you ever have picked Oxford? Why?
Because they won last week. As simple as that. Simple as that.
Point in the season where no thought goes into it. It's just who won the first matchup.
Yes. QMBL versus Essex. Essex.
QMBL.
Essex.
Yeah, I thought you'd do that one. Southampton versus Bournemouth. Bournemouth. The Sussex Saxons versus the Hertfordshire Hurricanes. The Sussex Panthers. SJ.
Hurricanes.
Yeah. Then I have got. That's not right. Now this one right here. Warwick versus Coventry.
Warwick.
There's one for the week. There's one for the weekend after that's Coventry versus Staffordshire, and I think I'm going to pick Staffordshire for that one. But that's next week. Stallions versus Staffordshire versus NTU.
NTU.
Yeah, Manchester versus the MMU Eagles.
Oh, that's a good game.
MMU, they won something. Connor is cooking something up there. I don't know what he's cooking. I'm going MMU.
I mean, I'm going for MMU, so you guys can pick what you
I'm
want.
going to go MMU. It's
Yeah.
no, MMU.
There you go. Hallam. This is the Sheffield. Lots of derby games on this week. You got Manchester, Hallam or Sheffield Hallam versus Sabres. So that is easy for Warriors.
Real ones remember the Flag Bowl.
Yeah.
Hallam.
They've told me that the flag has been banned for this game. That is true. That is true as well. The Glasgow Uni Tigers versus the Edinburgh Predators.
Oh,
I don't
know. I think
Glasgow.
Preds. Glasgow won the last
Glasgow.
one. See, they won the last one. They won 9-6 against Hull last week. Edinburgh found the form a bit more in the second semester. It's going to be tight because Glasgow always have a stupidly tight game, but I think Edinburgh take it. I'm fed up with Glasgow and their single-digit wins. I'm not here for it.
I'm not here for it. I just can't.
They've won with like 9 points. They've drawn with 6. They've done all sorts of like low score. No.
Okay, so then moving on to Division 2, a game that will take place on the 8th of February. Taranai Aberystwyth versus the Bath Killer Bees. As I just said before, as I messed it up, Bath, but it will be closer than people expect. That's what I think.
Do we go for the culture?
No, we don't.
Is this the last time they're going to be playing potentially? Oh no, playoffs.
What in their history? I don't know. I don't know what the situation is.
No, I'll go Bath, unfortunately.
Okay, then on the 11th of February, you've got the OBU Panthers versus the Reading Knights. Ready?
I see Rob going at 6-0.
Yep, hate it so much. So now remember, guys, this is on the 11th of February, not the 8th. The 11th of February, the Bath Killer Bees versus the Bath Spa Bulldogs. Bath Killer Bees.
Bath versus Bath.
Yeah.
Bath Spa. No, sorry. Bees. Not fucking Bath Spa. Sorry, Bath
bees.
Spa. No.
Yeah, sorry, guys. Chichester Spitfires versus the Brighton Panthers.
Brighton
Panthers.
Brian.
The Plymouth Blitz versus the Gloucestershire Gladiators.
If I said Plymouth, would it upset you?
Not really.
Oh, okay, fine. I'll say Gloucester. I was only going to say Plymouth just to like.
No. Plymouth are a good team. It was going to be a difficult game. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I'll shit talk your team. I won't shit talk my team. UEL versus Canterbury. UEL.
That's a battle of these forfeited games.
Yeah, it's not great, is it? But we got to do all of them.
Canterbury.
You're a fucking idiot.
UEL haven't scored.
Canterbury. I've got Canterbury.
I got Canterbury.
Fine. I've got UEL then.
Win over Kingston.
Did they beat Kingston?
Yeah, a Kingston team isn't that bad. Like their record doesn't.
I'll pick Canterbury then. Yeah, Kingston are a good team. Yeah, I'll swap over for that one. Yeah.
I feel like you do this. You feel like he's got some inside info somewhere for him to be.
Me?
Yeah,
I do.
Listen,
I always do.
If it was just me on, he wouldn't have said a word.
That's true.
He'd have grilled me.
Surrey versus Winchester. Surrey.
Sorry.
Edge Hill versus Liverpool. Liverpool run the table. Edge Hill are heating up though. I will say that, but
they're a good team, but Liverpool are just different level.
Different gravy. The UE Bullets 2s versus the Worcester Royals.
Bullets. Go on.
I normally don't pick these games. Worcester. Worcester. Kiel Crusaders versus the Nottingham Green.
Green.
Well, no, another game that would have been probably game of the week, but Derby had to lose to Lincoln. Leicester versus Derby. Leicester.
Would be scenes though. If Derby Came out of the blue.
That game would be closer than I think people think.
Yeah.
I think Derby aren't going to be happy after that Lincoln game.
See, I don't think that game is going to be particularly close anyway. Like you look at Derby, they drew with the Green. You know, you lose to the Colonials, but I still think that game will be close. But I still have Leicester taking it. It's not going to be a blowout by any stretch of the imagination. So then we've got another derby: Cambridge Pythons, ARU Siege. ARU Siege.
I just love how Cambridge Derby is in the Midlands division.
It's mad, isn't it? It's really funny. Shouldn't be there.
I tell people I'm from the Midlands now.
Yeah.
ARU.
I think ARU.
York Centurions versus the York St. John Jaguars. Centurions.
York.
Centurions.
The Heriot-Watt Wolverines versus the Edinburgh Napier Knights.
Philadelphia Eagles.
Nice, strong effort. Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah.
I was actually going to say Chiefs. Chiefs.
You picking Chiefs?
Chiefs.
That is boring, and that. I mean, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
Oh, that's a bit anticlimactic. I don't know why that just felt a bit.
Yeah, it's because I thought there was one more. I was going to do a big, and we cheesed the last one.
What's your game of the week this week?
What a great question! What a fantastic. To be fair, it depends on SJ. Actually, it depends on you because if that Brunel Imperial does end up being a double header, the game of the week will be Brunel versus Imperial. Yeah, simple as. And if it's not, then probably UE versus SGS again.
Why not?
I think the most crucial game of the week, weirdly, is I'd say DMU Leicester.
That's what we need to talk about. Let's say that as well. Let's put that as a prediction. Is the Leicester derby going to happen or not? Yes or no?
No.
I've heard there's a lot of shithousing going on.
I've also heard that there is a lot of shithousing going on. And out of those, and of that,
if that happens, it's all gone to shit again. Derby can still go up. I'm not joking. If Derby win at the weekend and the shithousing happens, we'll do that next Monday. I won't be.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll do another playoff pick Monday. Another one.
Yeah. If you want to. We're doing all the 15th. We're doing all the 15th. Shut the what you done? We're doing all the 15th of games next week when that week is happening. No, it's come back up again. Yeah, we're doing all the 15th games next week. I know there's not many, but they'll be their own separate thing. I know it still counts as week 13, but I don't want the predictions to be too long. But yeah, what a fun little episode. What a fun little episode.
I can't wait for you to
post my
predictions for the playoffs and everyone to cyberbully me.
Yes, they will.
It's when you get on the LJMU TikTok, it's different for you, SJ. You're not.
I want to be on there. God, they're watching right now. I want to be on there, please. Please.
You'll be glad to know it's not a roast you've had, Tebs. It's like a League Champions post. I feel like you've got something coming though, because they were bringing up the other day the 1 star. No. They posted the other day about you predicting them as a 1-star relegated team. So I don't know if something's coming because you might have jumped on the bandwagon early enough.
However, let's look at those predictions. Like those predictions at the start of the year, we and the 25 people watching, we can all look now. A lot of those preseason predictions were absolute bollocks, weren't they? Absolute nonsense. I don't regret doing it, and that's what I felt about teams at the time. But considering you've got Reading, who else? Gloucestershire. Who else did I rank very low and they've done quite well? Obviously LJMU then.
Bournemouth. I wouldn't say you ranked Bournemouth low, but
I didn't think they'd do as well as they did.
It's an interesting cold take. I think that was, as Coach Rain said last week, that's a realistic expectation. I think at that point of the season.
Yeah, 2.5.
Yeah.
I'm older than that. Well, we'll see how I do in playoffs, I guess. Well,
No, I mean, you've already done better than that. But like, I don't regret doing the. I don't regret doing
Oh,
it.
no.
You know, it's been talked about a lot. It seems within the British University American football space. But at the end of the season, we will have, you know, that something will be done in regards to it, and I will go back over it and say, yeah. But that is when I haven't got to play football. Simple as. The audience, the team I play for, I ranked 1 star, and they're now 4-1. What do you want me to do? I don't know what you want from me. LJMU. LJMU, please don't drag me online. I don't want to be dragged online. Please.
Who do you have bottom of? Who do you have bottom of that? Like, as in, like, what is it? Like 60, 128 out of 120.
Probably the Pyros, if I had to guess.
No. I think I don't think I ranked the Pyros. No, I did rank the Pyros. Who I had last, it was Chichester and then Gloucestershire.
I will say the Pyros holding Aberdeen to 7 at half time was mental to me.
Yeah. So this part of the this part of the show has divulged into us just having a chat, so we should probably just end it, to be honest. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, if you are playing this week, good luck. Stay in good health. If you're not, enjoy your week off. But most importantly, this week, enjoy Sunday. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Drink as much as you want. Eat as much as you want, because everyone knows that calories do not count on Super Bowl Sunday. With that, we will see you back here, but we won't see you back here next Monday, because if you think I'm doing a show after a day after the Super Bowl, you are wrong. I'm not doing that. And Dylan, I'm sure you're not going to do it. And Connor, he's not going to do it either. SJ, if we had a show on Monday after the Super Bowl, would you come on it?
Depends on when else would you do it? What day would you do it?
Well, we're doing it on Wednesday. That was the reveal.
You're doing it on Wednesday? Okay, well, I'm not there. I've got a game to play.
That is
Thanks
true,
for
actually.
When will your power rankings be up, Tabs?
You're not
Why
in
don't
it.
Why don't you leave me alone?
I've got a cat now.
Why don't you? They'll be up tomorrow. I don't know.
I mean,
They'll be up tomorrow. For next week,
someone will say it.
For next week, genuinely, audience, don't expect me to be doing any Uniball work on the Monday after the Super Bowl.
Why don't I tune in from the sideline?
I'd love you to. I'd love you to. I'm not joking. I thought about this, actually. I was like, he's going to be playing, so I'd love to just, like, you send me a text. I'm like, oh, Brunella winning 24-0, you know?
I can do the boozy bingo fundraiser.
I'm not commenting on that game because I still get nightmares from the last time.
Yeah, it's true. A shame about that £100 bet thing, eh?
I've heard a coach still wants to come collect his debt even if he's not playing.
Yep. It's a shame about that. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, so the rundown will be coming to you on Wednesday next week, because obviously the Super Bowl, I will be hungover. We'll all be hungover, and I don't really think doing a show that hungover is a good idea. And then obviously Tuesday is Valentine's Day, and despite me being the most single man in the world, I'm sure that I know Dylan always talks about his girlfriends, so he's probably going to be busy. Connor's probably going to be busy as well. I'm not doing that to them. I'm not forcing them to work on Valentine's Day. So it will be coming at you on Wednesday instead, where we will be joined by some of the players of the Leeds Griffins, which will be very good. And they can, try and write me through this storybook that I will turn into a script one day. And I will probably not get it made because people don't care about football. Anyway, with that, we will see you next Wednesday. Thank you very much, SJ, for coming and giving your predictions. Dylan, I'm very annoyed that roast did not turn out to be particularly roasty. More just
you didn't get on. You all went soft when he came on. It was.
What do you mean to say? Dylan is Dylan the shittest quarterback you've ever seen? No, I'm not going to say that. What the fuck?
You could have. That's what you say off stream. I was waiting for it.
No,
I was
I don't.
more from you.
Literally, no, I don't.
We'll see.
Right. Goodbye, people. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Enjoy your games. Enjoy Uniball. Read the rankings when it comes out. And also, Dylan is not a very good quarterback. Goodbye.